Okay, this is the public session held according to OAR 192.610 to 192.690 public meeting laws. January 21st, 2026, it's 12:33. Public session will remain open until public business is completed.
And roll call.
Oh, roll call. Megan Larrabee, ND.
Dr. Ryan Martin, ND.
Dr. Zia Robles Fernandez.
Kate
Mary
Watkins,
Beth Baptista, Executive Director.
Kate Bright, public member.
Josh Looper, public member.
Shihab Al-Hashimi, ND.
And we have Haley Morse-Miller and Jalinda Patton from DAS. Haley's LFO and Jalinda is the CFO. Okay. So Megan, first agenda item.
Review public comment received on OAR 850-030-0035. Licensure fees proposed increases. Public comment is posted on the board website, page link, and public comment will be updated at the closure of comment at or about 8 a.m. and 121:26. So it's closed. Any discussion?
Well, yeah, so I just want to make sure everybody was able, because I think I wasn't 100% clear where the public comment was going to be, but it feels like everybody was able to find it and review it prior to the meeting. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. Okay, so now go ahead, Megan. Ask if there's any discussion.
Any discussion? Okay. I make a motion.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, everybody read the public comment and saw it and, understood that there were some people who were, not pleased with the idea that fees were going to be raised, but did not really offer any specific changes to the rules. And we actually did receive a lot of positive comments, affirming that, nobody likes their fees increased, but understanding that this is what it takes for us to remain an autonomous board and not become an umbrella board or consolidated, and that seemed to be a lot of people's priorities. Just wanted to make that point.
I did have a question. One common thread was from those NDs holding inactive licenses. And I'm wondering if you know off the top of your head an approximate number. Do you know, Mary Beth, how many inactive licensees are part of the group?
I do. Give me 1 second. Hold the phone. Right now, we have approximately 75 inactive licensees.
Okay. And I mean, I noted that I think there were at least two or three of them, maybe two, that made public comments and said, I'm not going to maintain my inactive license anymore. And, looking at holistically, I think that appears to be maybe the only group that isn't going to have to suffer or absorb these increases, like that they're not going to have a choice. Their choice would be to just stop being inactive. I just wanted to get a sense of what the potential hit would be to our sources of I don't know if we call it revenue, but sources of funding. If there was a large number, if a lot of these inactive licensees decided to just drop.
Right.
And so I was just curious about that statistically. And then And then I guess the follow-up question would be is there, does the percentage fee increase have to be across the board? Or can we cherry pick any of the increases? For example, could we leave alone the inactive licensee charge? Just if we're foreseeing that it's going to be, cutting off our nose to spite our face type of situation. I just thought that was the only thing that kind of
stuck out to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm using my bifocals, so that's why I'm looking weird. I should take my camera off so you all don't have to look at me look like this. Okay. So it was a $70 difference for inactive licensees. The last time it was raised, it was a $50 difference, and that I believe I put in my email response was in 2023. So it's been 3 years. The majority of inactive licensees are not long-term inactive licensees. The majority of them are taking a leave of absence for a year or two and come back to practicing medicine. I don't have the numbers in that specific number in front of me, but it is by far the majority of people. They go on a sabbatical, they go study in, the Galapagos or something, they leave the practice for a very short period of time.
Have a baby or something.
Have a baby. Yep, that's another family matters.
Okay.
And so I don't anticipate the majority of those people not renewing their inactive license, because if they go lapsed, the amount of continuing education and the amount of fees that they would have to pay to
get
go
back
from
in.
lapsed to, then they would have to go to lapsed to active.
Okay.
So I don't see that having a huge effect. One of the other group of people who become inactive are people who are teachers, professors, and I don't see them foregoing that either, because they may want to come back to practice or want to work in the clinic or move around. So in active licensees, the majority of these people, it's just a stopgap for a year or two for them to do something else without losing their license and have an easy pathway back.
Got it.
One of the people who sent in the public comment, I believe she had been inactive for 15 out of the 20 years she was a licensee. That's not normal, right? That's not a usual path for inactive licensees. So with all things, we figured there was going to be some attrition, right? Like that people would say, well, forget it, I don't want it. There are also inactive licensees at the end of their career, who we have a statutory requirement. You have to be 70 to go retired. So they're just kind of waiting it out till they can go to have a retired license. So
Okay.
yeah, we may lose some, but I'm not concerned at all that the majority of the people who avail themselves to the inactive licensee will choose to just let their license lapse. That's just not what it's used for.
Okay. That's really helpful.
As to your other question about cherry picking, I did try to spread out the increase beyond just licensure fees, but I wanted my biggest concern, and the concern I heard when I had conversations with the association and with the school, is that we don't want people who go to school in Washington or go to school in California to not want to come to Oregon. And so I wanted to try to not raise fees for applicants or new licensees as much as I could. I wanted to spare them the most of the fee increase. One, because I didn't want to discourage new licensees, and two, I'd rather, just to be completely frank, they don't have money, right? Like
Right. It's a greater barrier for them.
right. And so, it's definitely governor's priority to not have a barrier to licensure, as well as, the profession's priority. So we initiated a new fee for licensure verification that we hadn't before. That's going to affect new licensees.
Okay.
We did increase slightly the jurisprudence exam, but generally I tried to do the fee increases with people who already had established practices and could carry the burden more than new licensees. So I did try to spread the increases where I could.
Okay. Thank you. I think there's precedent for that on other licensing boards as well, too.
Yeah.
Have it be less expensive in the early years of entry in the profession.
Right.
Okay. I just thought that was worth discussing, but I'm satisfied with that, and it doesn't make me want to, advocate for any changes to what you've already done.
And the one thing I didn't put in my email responses to everyone because I didn't necessarily think it was relevant, right? It's that whole like when you have teenagers like, well, they're allowed to, and it's like, well, I don't really care what they're allowed to, right? But pretty much we're seeing fee increases, across professions. It's not just us. I think Josh, you mentioned that your acupuncture fees are going up and the medical board fees are being increased roughly 25% also. So we're not the only ones. This is happening across the board. Boards, plural.
So just maybe as a point of order, since we are looking into this, we have one of the responders asked about increasing dramatically the fees for civil penalties. Have we considered that as a way of making revenue?
I think I can respond to that. Those are set by the legislature, right, Mary
Right.
Beth? We don't have any control over that.
Yeah, it's $5,000 per violation. And here's the other thing too, right? Like when, as a board, we do impose civil penalties, but we also have to make sure that all of our discipline is consistent and enforceable. The last thing we want to do is suddenly change our discipline to the point where we, dramatically increase for the same violations that we have been very consistent. Like we're very consistent with our discipline. And the fact that we're very consistent with our discipline means we have had, since I've been here, just one person request a hearing and almost go forward with it. And it had nothing to do with fees. It had to do with the licensure denial, right? So an application denial because he was revoked in another jurisdiction. So we have to make sure that discipline remains consistent and enforceable so we don't end up spending more money, one, on legal fees that are not necessary to go through these things at hearing. And it's just the right thing to do, right? Like we as a board have decided that our priority in discipline is, to change behavior, to educate, right? To do continuing education, to do chart reviews, to do those kind of things. And yeah, civil penalty is definitely relevant and important in a lot of these cases, but that's appropriate discipline. But, we can't, and, our hope and our goal, right, is to not have discipline, right? Is to not have complaints. So I don't want to have our budget be dependent on people doing wrong because our hope is that, they won't. So it's not, and as I said in one of my responses, like it's 84% of our income is from licensure fees. So that's where the money has to come from.
I think inversely, we're also gonna, we would endanger people saying, well, you guys are doing more punishment because you just want to make money, and we don't want to be in that space either.
No, that's wrong. I mean, yes, you're correct, and that would be the wrong thing to do. Yes.
Yeah, I knew it made sense not to do that. I just wanted us to discuss it and say that we went through this and we considered all revenue making things, and yes, we have to do this. And I think we in the board understands. I think in response to your email, people were like, take me through the steps. Like, why do I have to pay more?
Right. Right. I tried to just do the facts in the first email and hope that people would click on the link without me adding, too much verbiage that people wouldn't read. And that clearly, the questions were clearly consistent in that first day and a half. So that's why I sent out the second email, just trying to get to everybody's questions. And that seemed to be pretty effective. And after that, it was pretty much all positive responses.
Yeah, you did a great job, Mary Beth. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's not an easy thing to do.
No.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. It was, it was pretty straightforward. And so, it wasn't, it was definitely worth the time I spent to get people's questions answered and to move it in the right direction. And that, that's what people want. Nobody wants their fees raised. Like, let's be honest, who wants to pay more for anything? But making sure people understood why the choices were made, I think was helpful for everybody. So you're welcome.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, so I make a motion for the board to approve the draft rule changes, the increase in licensure fees.
I second the motion.
All right, all those in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay.
I said aye. Another aye from me.
Okay, any opposed? Nay. All right, motion passes.
Okay, great. I will go ahead and get that filed, and we are moving forward in the process. I appreciate you guys hopping on and doing this. It was super important to get this done as quickly as possible so we can get it done in the February session. Anything else for the good of the order? All right. Well, everyone open a window and look at the sun before it goes away.
Right.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll
Someone
second it.
Ryan Martin, second.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor, aye.
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 Any
And bye.
opposed?
Aye. Bye.
Any opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned at 12:49.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Bye.